My name is Amy Christine. I am a master of wine based in Los Angeles. In LA, I work for Kermit Lynch Wine Merchant, but my husband and I also own a winery in Santa Barbara County in Lompoc called Holus Bolas. We make mostly Syrah, but we make one little Bordeaux blend from San Ynez. I will give you a hint and tell you that is not in the flight today. So you don't have to worry about it. I didn't want anyone, you don't want to put your own wine out on the table for fear that everyone will hate it. So it's scary. When Lynn asked me to do this, I was trying to think of what I could possibly bring to this group. I mean, combined in this room, you guys have more knowledge than I could ever acquire. And I didn't think that I wanted to, to spend time teaching you about specific things like Lindsay did yesterday. It sounds like you guys had a great class in appellations and vintages. So maybe take what you learned yesterday into today, which is blind tasting. So I thought I would take you through a Master of Wine mock exam. So pretend that you are been studying for, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years for the MW exam. You're coming up on June. You've been studying really hard. And you walk into the exam and you have these 6 wines sitting in front of you. Now, the first thing you do is that you panic because you're going to read the question and it says, you have here on your paper, this is going to be your MW exam question. The following 6 wines are from 4 different countries. All are made from Bordeaux varieties. Now, because you've been preparing for years and years, and those of you've been tasting Bordeaux from years and years, you know that with these varieties in particular, the buildup of acid, tannin, and alcohol over time, by the time you get to the last wine, it becomes very hard to differentiate whether like you have Cabernet in the glass, whether you have Merlot in the glass, whether it's Cab Franc, whether it's from Bulgari, whether it's from Bordeaux. But we're going to try to work through that a little bit today, and I'm just going to tell you my process because I think what I will do is break you up into groups of 6, and you will try to come to a consensus in about 12 minutes about what all the wines are and where they're from. So the first thing we have to do is break down the question and say, okay, so they're all made from Bordeaux varieties. So we know, obviously, this is Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Cabernet Franc, Malbec, Petit Verdot, and I'm not going to be cruel to you and put Carmenere in there because it's an extinct variety in Bordeaux, basically. But that could appear on the MW exam. They could throw Carmenere in this question. The second part of it is that on the top of your paper, you might want to write, okay, so where could these be from? Now, these are worldwide from Bordeaux. So where else in the world outside of Bordeaux? So Bordeaux, we know we've got right bank, left bank, obviously. But so where else could we be looking? Where in North America? California? Washington State? Okay. Okay, so in California, we'd be probably predominantly looking at Napa, Sonoma, Central Coast, and Washington and Columbia Valley, right? In Chile, where would we go in Chile? Maipo Valley, right? And somebody else said Australia? Yeah, where? Okay. Coonawarra, yeah, Margaret River, and then South Africa, Stellenbosch, okay. Are we missing anything?
Italy.
Exactly, Italy. So Maremma, right, and Bulgari, and Lebanon. Okay, so we've got, that's pretty solid. But I would have made a list at the top of my page so these wines could be from any of those places. But we know that we only have 4 different countries, which means there's going to be some overlap. The way that you're going to assess these is based on what I've written on the paper. And if you're a student, a Master of Wine student, which you are right now sitting in this room with me, you've been officially inaugurated into that. You're going to go by color, aroma, body, acid, alcohol, tannin, palate flavors, winemaking, and then quality. And I have BLIC there. Does anybody know? Some of you WSET students might know what BLIC stands for. It's balance. Oh, sorry.
Balance, length, intensity, concentration.
And yeah, balance, length, intensity, and complexity. Yes. So when I'm going to go through each one of these. For color, when you're looking at Cabernet, we're obviously all of these wines are on the ruby spectrum, right? They're all on either medium ruby for Cabernet, maybe opaque ruby. And we need to pay attention to age because these are, I'll tell you, they're anywhere from 2005 to 2015. So we have about a 10-year age gap there. So take that into consideration when you're assessing the tannin in the wine, which of course will become resolved over time. If there's a wine that's throwing a little bit of purple, that wine could have some Malbec and some Cabernet Franc in that. Those wines tend to be just a little bit purple. So that's what we're going to look for with color. The darker, we're going to assume it's Cabernet, and as we ease up on that, maybe we're going to push it into Merlot. Depends on winemaking, but something to consider. Next, for aroma, for Cabernet, we'll have classic aromas of cassis, black currant, graphite, that lead pencil thing that can happen in the old world, specifically in Bordeaux. For Merlot, we'll look for a plum, maybe on the blue fruit spectrum. The same thing with Malbec, we'll be looking for blueberry. And these fruit characters are really hard to pull out of wine because, of course, that's not what we're smelling. We're getting remnants of, or something that we associate with a blackberry note. And we don't need to worry about Petit Verdot so much because those are going to be in such small concentrations. The chances of you getting that, getting any Petit Verdot character in the wine, which would really just give us a little bit more tannin and a really inky, sort of inky color to the wine. But let's focus on those top three, Cabernet Merlot and Cabernet Franc. So Cabernet Franc is going to be that pyrazine green note and a violet perfumed character. Yeah?
I have a question now. So this is double blind. I thought we were going to have a list of wines and do a single wine. Okay, we'll just switch. You want us to do double?
Yeah. You guys are blind. You guys are very experienced tasters, particularly for Cabernet varieties. So I'm counting on you to be able to do this. You're good. I see there's some grumbling in the group. So after body, so body is just the weight of the wine in your mouth, and that predominantly is going to come from alcohol and tannin. Cabernet is going to be weightier than Merlot by a little bit, and Malbec is also going to have a decent amount of weight. Cabernet Franc, medium-bodied, let's say.
Are these wines individual varieties or are they blends?
They're blends, or they could be a single variety or a blend. It could go both ways, but they're all blends. I'll just tell you that. They're all blends. Yes. It is. I thought I was being very nice. So, and then the acidity in the wine. Does the wine make you salivate? Because we have to parse out when we're blind tasting acid and tannin. They're incredibly easy to get confused. So tannin is going to be, that astringency in your mouth, whatever is like a walnut or black tea, and acid more like what a lemon would do. So if you start to feel a little salivating right here, that's acid and not tannin. If you feel the along the length of your tongue, the astringency along the length of your tongue, that's tannin. Obviously, Cabernet is going to be the most tannic variety we have in here. So if you get a more tannic wine, we can start to make the assumption that that wine has more Cabernet than Merlot, and vice versa. Alcohol. All of these wines are going to be on the, let's say, higher alcohol spectrum, anywhere from minimum of 13%, right? We're not going to go below that with Cabernet, to could be as high as 15. But really between 13.5 and 15. We talked about tannin. Palate flavors. So for Cabernet, that cassis, that black currant, you can get some olive notes, even though we really find that in Syrah. It can happen in Bordeaux. Look for that graphite lead pencil that you'll find in Bordeaux. In the New World, you're going to want to look for more overt oak that's perhaps less integrated, maybe not. It's just that's a guider. And also overt fruit. So if something seems particularly fruity, let's try to think about that as going into the New World. And then winemaking. So our secondary characteristics. Most of what I've talked about up until now are primary characteristics. Is that we get those from the grape. Secondary characteristics we get from winemaking, and we're really going to be looking at oak aging. Maybe maceration time. Cabernet can get some extended maceration time. If you're seeing a lot of astringency and a lot of tannin in the glass, that's from a period of maceration. Also, French oak will give us vanilla, baking spice, that nutmeg note. American oak will give us dill, little coconut character if it's going to be in here. And then lastly, quality. Quality is really difficult to assess blind. If you taste a wine and you have a moment of, I don't think this wine is very good, if there is a lot of new oak on that wine, I can promise you that even though that might not be your preference, new oak is really expensive, and people don't put a lot of new oak on low quality wine, particularly for Bordeaux varieties. So we're going to want to look at the quality, which is balance, length, intensity, and complexity. Balance, you cannot say this wine is balanced. The wine has to be balanced between two things, and those two things have to be logical. You can't say, oh, I'm smelling this wine and oh, the aromas balance well with the tannin, because that doesn't make, that doesn't make sense. You would usually say, the deep, extracted blackberry fruit helps balance out the firm astringent tannins. That would be an appropriate use of the word balance. Intensity is how intense is the fruit? Is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? Are the tannins high, intense, medium, or low? So think about a low to moderate to high spectrum for that, for intensity. And then length. How long does the wine sit in your, how long after you swallow it? Nobody's spitting today, right? No, I don't see any spit cups anywhere, any dump buckets. So how long does it stay in your mouth? And length is, if you don't like the wine, swallow it, and if it hangs out for a long time, it's probably higher quality than you initially thought. Complexity oftentimes comes from the tertiary characters for how long the wine has been aged and how it's been developed in the bottle. So I am going to give you, do you guys want, how long do you want for each wine? 30 seconds? Oh, do we want spit cups before we start tasting? You guys are good? Down here? Do you need more? Okay. I need to. I'll ask somebody. Oh, I can go ask somebody for that. Oh, she's going. Okay. So the way this would usually work in an exam setting, which is how we are today, is that you would take a wine and you would assess it for 2 minutes. You would get 2 minutes to assess the wine, and then you would do your write-up, which would take you about 10 minutes. But we're not writing the wines today. So I was going to set a timer for each wine if you want to go through them individually, and maybe we'll take about a minute on each wine, and then I'll allow you to talk about it in your groups of 6. And then whoever feels super confident, and I mean really confident in your conclusion, will stand up at the end. You will let us know what you think the wines are. And the way you will do that is you will say, okay, we think wine number 1 is Napa Valley. Because, and I don't want any humming and hawing about it, right? It's not gonna be like, well, we think it's Napa Valley because there's like some blackberry fruit. It's Napa Valley, blackberry fruits, moderate plus tannins, fruit overt, and you're gonna move on, and it's gonna be incredibly just quick and fast, because we're gonna get you guys to lunch, I promise. Okay, everybody, because we are going to have lunch at some point, what I'd like to do is have just who feels confident about wine 1? Where wine 1 is from? Just anybody get up and tell me 3 reasons why you think wine 1 is from X place and made from X grape variety. And there's no ego in this. We are all babies when it comes to blind tasting. So I promise I get stuff wrong all the time. Who wants to go? Yeah, I do. Okay.
I'm going to make a total fool of myself. And
That's great. That's great. Okay.
Okay. I'm making a fool of myself, and I know that I'm not ready. But this is our attempt. We get points if we just extra credit.
Don't turn the menus over, because that's going to reveal the wines. Okay, great.
Okay. We said that this had this did have a lot of acid, and there was tannins, there was oak, so we were going for higher quality, and we went for not cab dominant based on the color, and old world.
Okay, so we have an old world high quality wine. And did you come to any place in the old world? Did you want to go that far or no?
No.
Okay, great. Okay.
Maybe Italy.
Maybe Italy here. Wine 2. Somebody just stand up and just do it. It just doesn't matter.
Benny, you're on.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All right, my feeling here is the nose on this was what got me at the beginning. It was kind of flat and you get to the taste. It's different. It kind of reminds me of when I've had South African or Lebanese wines or something like that. It has sort of that distinctive, different flavor. And I so rarely have it that when I do have it, it seems to hit me.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling. It's either South African or Lebanese.
That's great. So when you're tasting a wine, if you and you think it's South Africa, can have that Old World and New World notes. It can have the fruit from the Old World and that savor. I mean, the fruit from the New World and the savory character from the Old World. I'm just going to go ahead because you were sort of dead on with this wine, and that it is our wine from Lebanon. It is Chateau Moussard. However, this wine was a ringer because it's not all Bordeaux varieties. It's a third Cabernet, a third Carignan, and a third Cinsault. So I'm sorry that I threw that in at you. So that wasn't fair, but it's Moussard, yeah. So you nailed it. So wine three. Here?
It's Lebanon. Yeah, it was Lebanon. Number 2.
So who's on wine 3? Let's get through these. Oh, so do you guys want me to tell you what number 1 is? Okay, number 1 is Pontet Canet, so Pauillac. But so you were exactly correct. It is Old World and very high quality based on the intensity of oak, acid, and tannin. That's an age-worthy wine. Okay, wine 3.
Well, what year is it?
2005. Wine 3. Somebody, anybody? Yeah. They're serving lunch, so somebody's gotta have the courage.
We can eat and talk.
Yeah. Okay, wine 3, great.
Bordeaux, and it was Bordeaux. I said, that's a little purple to me. I think it has more Malbec in it, Chilean, bigger mouthfeel, not a lot of oak. I don't know if that's close.
Okay, so this wine is called Gombo Guillot, and it's from Pomerol. So it's Merlot based, but Pomerol can often mimic New World because it is so lush. It is really hard to sit the master of wine these days because wines are becoming more homogenous than they've ever been. People in the New World are learning to make stuff in a more Old World style, and the Old World is learning to make cleaner wines like in New World. So that's not a bad guess. It's really not. It is 85. I'm going to pass out the text sheets, but it's 85 Merlot.
We went the exact same place.
Hold on. 15% Cabernet Franc. So that's where you're getting that pyrazine note. So you're right there. Okay, wine number 4. I know Lynn's group wants to do down here. Oh, sorry. You guys want to do wine 4?
All right, Vicky.
Yeah, we thought that it had a, let's see, we thought it's California cab. So cab dominant, of course. Great tannin structure. It's my favorite wine. Good length. Vanilla. Let's see.
So you got that vanilla. It's got fruit intensity, and we felt that. By the way, this group we were talking about that. I think this was a consensus wine was from California, and it is. It's from actually. It's a wine that Catherine pulled at the last minute for us.
Introduce who you are, Catherine. Yeah, I'm Catherine. I run the wine program here. So I probably met several of you through all these events, but she's going to tell you what. So the last, wine number 4, we just kind of threw in a ringer at the last moment. It is California. It's actually Paso Robles. And actually, even more interesting, it is Merlot dominant. It is under 14% alcohol coming from Paso Robles, which is unheard of.
13.7, I think.
Yeah, 13.7, 13.8. But the winemaker is the father of Sasha. He used to play for the NBA, for the Lakers. Oh, wow.
Love him too,
No, it's not awesome, no. Sasha, I can never pronounce his name. Anyways, he played for the Lakers for a long time, but he and his brother made this with their dad. And their dad learned to make wine while Sasha was playing for the Italian league in Friuli, in Italy. So that was what his father was trying to recreate, was essentially the Italian Merlots from the area. So they're absolutely charming gentlemen. Their wines are fabulous. I poured this by the glass, actually.
Which vineyard?
Huh? It's their own vineyard. Alexander.
What's the name of it?
Alexander. Sorry, Alexander. Yeah. Alexander's the name of the vineyard.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you.
Yeah, there was some cooked fruit on the end there that we think, even though the alcohol was low, it shows a warmer climate. Okay, wine 5. Wine 5. Now we can almost start to be like, we can start to use our clues. We know there's 4 different countries.
Well, we thought Australia. Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah, there was people thought Bordeaux. All the ones I put down first turned out to be right. We changed them to something else.
Trust your instincts,
You gotta
Leslie.
stay with Australia.
Okay.
We got Italy as well. He said Italy, right?
He said Australia and Italy. You were on the cusp. They said Italy. Okay, Italy. Well, those of you who said Italy are correct. This is Tenuta San Guido. This is the little brother to Sassicaia. We're going to pass out the text sheets on these so you'll know the winemaking and the grape varieties, but this is like a little baby Sassicaia. Okay, our last wine, wine 6. Now we know, that we actually, based on logic, the last wine has to be from where? Well, no, actually it doesn't. It could be from one of those countries. But forget what I just said. Okay, wine 6. Washington State? No, I don't listen to me. Wine, you want to do wine 6? Yeah, stand up. Let's go. Yeah.
I got very vibrant fruit in the beginning and high alcohol, high tannins. The tannins actually went forward. It was a very long finish. The first thing I noticed that I thought was a dead giveaway was coffee and a lot of chocolate. So I'm thinking probably Chile, South America, do some hot climate.
Well, this is interesting because it's the second time we've mistaken chili for Pomerol. So think about, if you're blind tasting again, so if you, thank you, by the way, you all for participating. This stuff is really super fun for me. But the way that you get better at this is now that we've mistaken Pomerol for chili twice, we then go home, we buy a bunch of Pomerol, and we buy a bunch of Chilean wine, and we taste them next to each other, and then you won't ever get them wrong again. So these will be called your laterals in blind tasting, the things you need to be tasting side by side. Yeah. Yeah, what? This is not, you guys are very competitive, I know. Okay, so you can flip your menu over. Pomerol can absolutely do that. So can Merlot.